a mirror on the wall? Just hold it still and I'll blast them all.
Welcome back to Retro Wednesday at the Tiberium Hangar. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about 1990. Welcome to the 90s. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the G.I. Joe 1990. We're on this trip from 1982 to 1994. Every week we're doing another year, and so of course 91 will be next year. But I was going to plan this week to be an introduction to the 90s and go over some things they did different in the 90s. But this is kind of a dividing point in collectors. A lot of people that started in 1982 aged out of G.I. Joe by 1990. So this is where it goes from being a nostalgia trip to being an educational trip, a learning, exploratory journey for a lot of people, a lot of my viewers. And also, again, there are kids that got into Joe in the 90s. And so with that, we're going to take a look at every single one of these figures, and I have a few of the vehicles, and then we'll talk about some of the other ones. I actually have some footage from a toy shop that I've filmed of some of this. It's going to be kind of fun. We're going to take a look at this, and I think I'm going to split 1993 into two videos, but we'll talk about that and more coming up. All right, first off, we're going to start out with Ambush, and this is a figure that I thought was really interesting. I thought he was interesting because of the fact, A, he comes with a whole bunch of stuff and some soft goods, and it's just really interesting. But he comes with a couple of guns here. So he has this black rifle here that kind of looks like the Baroness rifle, but it is different. And then he comes with this blaster thing going on here, this green. And I think this is the same one, or if I was doing it, I still would use the hat and that for the Dino Hunters. This gets repainted for a Dino Hunters specialty, which that is very expensive. This here is kind of like a weird little stand. I forgot how exactly it's supposed to work. Something along the lines like this. And then you take his soft goods out of here. He's got two soft goods. One's sort of a poncho. And which one's the poncho? One's like a poncho that he wears over himself, like this, to hide and ambush someone. And then the other one is like a covering for this. And so I don't waste too much time, he can hide under the cover here like he's a sniper or something along those lines. That's kind of the whole idea of this thing. Quite interesting, actually. And I got more ambushes. I don't have the Dino Hunter ambush, but I do have a late 90s, 98 or early 2000, 2002 version that is a different recolor, and I subbed that one out. Ambush. Show his backpack, and you can just clip all this stuff back on here. It's really, really quite interesting. This is where 90s, they had to do a whole lot of stuff to make it work. I don't know how this soft goods is supposed to clip into this somehow, some way, but it does it. Now here's Bullhorn. We're actually going to see more of this gun in the future, but not that at all again, I don't think. And his backpack, not at all. So he comes with, let's check this out. Now I didn't take Ambush's helmet off, I probably should have, but Bullhorn looks kind of looks like he's a bit of camouflage on his face, dark hair in there. It's kind of interesting, kind of brown and green color scheme. He probably needs a new rubber band. I think this one, I felt it was good enough because he could stand on his own. But he's got two cool things. Okay, first of all, he has this sniper rifle already. This is a sniper rifle. He has a Bullhorn. It's a two-part thing. So for whatever reason, they decided to manufacture it in two parts because this pops off and goes flying. Which is kind of a help to know that this is what the thing looks like without this on it. I find that very helpful. Finding it complete together is a bit of a challenge. But his backpack is the interesting part, which is what Destro's backpack looked like it should have done. This opens up, and inside it has three pieces that turn into a gun. And my pieces are falling out. As you can see, they stow away in there. And then you can put it together to make a gun. I think the barrel goes in here. And then we have the scope that goes on top. Something like this. It's hard to hit that hole, but there we go. So he's got another sniper gun. Really cool. Awesome. But yeah, this is Bullhorn with 2 sniper guns and 1 stows away in his backpack. Very awesome. Really cool concepts. Cool stuff that they did in the 90s that I'd have loved to see them do in the 80s. So this is Captain Gridiron, but I'm going to tell you a little secret. If I have one of these green or teal or whatever, yellow stands, it's because I've had this figure for a long time. And I've had this figure for a long time, and they were originally on display like 4 years ago in a stand all on their own. And the rest of my figures were in displays. But now I'm doing things different, and I need every one of them on a stand. And so with that, he was one I've had for a while. But I recently completed him because he was missing a few things. And he comes with so many parts and pieces. And it is kind of cool what he has going on here. But first off, here's his helmet. And here's his face, his head sculpt. And then there's his helmet. And he has a visor that goes up and down. So there's a lot going on there. He has a backpack with one of these football grenades, and people think it's kind of silly and goofy, but I look back and I think that's kind of cool. He's got 2 more football grenades that plug into just a tab right there. And then he has a cool looking pistol right here, which kind of looks like, is it Mercer or one of those 3? They have one, but it actually has a longer, like, extra silencer or something on it. And then he has this giant one here, which I cannot get him to hold with both hands anyway, so it doesn't matter. But he's got to hold all his stuff. But it comes with 4 missiles. It's like a quadra missile launcher. And that is really cool. So this dude is packed with a bunch of cool stuff. Now, another thing is that he comes with 2 of these pads. Now, whether you want to call them arm pads or shin guards, I guess my goal was to get another one so we'd have 2 here and 2 here. I didn't get that far with life. I haven't made that there. Anyhow, I was able to accomplish it because I had one that was mostly complete. I picked up 1 more to mostly complete this guy. So anyway, this is Captain Gridiron. Really a cool, interesting figure overall, and with all the fun stuff that you can do with this guy. Yeah, he's packed with quite an arsenal. Does make it challenging to complete him, though. Now we're getting into Freefall. It's kind of funny because I've written all the names down because I sort of forget them, but they're all starting to come back to me as we go through this. Freefall is one that comes with the fewest accessories, it seems like. He has this backpack, which I start to wonder if something's broken off there. And he has his helmet. That's his face. And on this helmet, he has like this, for whatever reason, this other piece it's separate. I don't know why. It seems like something that could just be molded in. It's weird. He also comes with this gun, which I don't see with anyone else. It is such a strange looking gun. One of you gun experts out there, chime in on what this is. It's a VR9378. I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, he does look like a paratrooper. So he is, okay, Freefall, he is a paratrooper. So I guess the backpack is a parachute backpack. Doesn't do much of anything. And he's got a jump suit. And he's kind of got some, what color is it? Kind of a tan and green camo. Still, pretty cool, interesting figure. This does feel like something you would have seen in 1986. It just feels like that type of figure that would have fit in right with all those. So do a lot of these figures in 1990. They haven't really jumped the shark going into sci-fi or neon just yet. So if you watch the Deke show, that's kind of, they took over the animation, I think last year, but I think most people look at it as 1990 is the turning point. But Deke did seem to take over 1989, I believe. Anyhow, this is where I dropped off. I didn't even know this guy existed. It is a really interesting figure. So, first off, he looks like someone that would be in the jungle. And then what does he have? He has this hose connected to a saw. It's cool. A saw. And 2 of these lasers with ammo belts. So you need 2 lasers, 2 ammo belts. So they are the same though. I think they're ambidextrous kind of thing. Like you use it on either side. They're connected to tabs that are on his pelvis. So if those tabs are broken, then you got a problem. And I don't really see him technically holding these. You just got to fake it till you make it. You might break a thumb trying to get his hand on that. So I'm not going to mess with it. So this is kind of how I have everything on him. It looks good. I get a bit of Muskrat vibe with the green hat and the kind of the camo that's going on. But I also get a little bit into sort of a 80s digital print. I mean, Pixel Dan would be proud of those pants. If Pixel Dan had those pants, he'd have them in every video. But this is a pretty cool figure, and he's still very affordable. I've seen him sell for 15 to 20 bucks, and he's a cool figure, and he looks good, and he'd fit right in with your 80s Joes. So 1990, still not too far out. This guy's gonna find your path with Pathfinder. This guy is cool. He's so cool. He's called Sub-Zero, and with that, he is all in white. So of course he could yellow. If you're not careful, he could yellow. Now he does come with this giant, it's like a, is it a sniper rifle? It's a blaster. Has a bipod. Yes, its own specific bipod. It's not like you can pop this off here and put it on dust. Can you put it on Dusty? I don't know. In his backpack, you have things that could plug into his backpack. I think the rifle itself, the rifle itself can plug into his backpack with that tab right there, which I'm not going to mess with. It has a separate ammo belt that is right there to, like, it's about to get used. He has 4 of these grenades, these he's a mortar launcher, and this is his mortar launcher. Now I have one in there, but I put a crumpled up piece of paper in there so it doesn't fall out. And so there's really no need to show that. He does have snowshoes, which I don't know if they mount anywhere, so I don't have to waste a stand. By the way, you can get stands at Amazon. That's where I get my stands. But he doesn't need one. He has a nice white and teal look to him. And yeah, this is a pretty clean example. It's still a little bit yellowed, and his backpack is a little bit yellowed. But out of the 2 I have, this one is the nicest. And I kind of pieced. So here's what I did with him. I bought 2 halfway, partially complete ones, and pieced me one complete one together. Another one that I can use for displays and stuff. But between the 2, it all worked out perfect, and it was still cheaper than buying one complete one. That's where you find with the 90s, buying one complete one is expensive, but 2 partials and piece it together works out better, especially when it's so cold. It's Sub-Zero. Next up we have Rampart. I hope I'm saying it right, Rampart. But he is one that is... This is kind of strange. He looks like he's ready for some winter survival gear stuff going on. And he comes with, first off, this launcher that is separate. You have this piece, and then kind of like a softer, flexible other part right here. And then you have his missile. Now, I don't know if he comes with 1 or 2 missiles, but he's got a clip right here for his missile. Then I got a missile in that launcher. And so he either comes with 1 or 2. I ended up with 2. And this is my trick. I put a little piece of paper in there so it doesn't fall out. Because if he falls over, and then you lose it, then you might not find it for a while or ever. Now he comes with this ridiculous laser blaster. His gun, the handle's on the side. That might actually be an ammo. I think it's the grip. Like an ammo thing. He's got this, I guess it's a big old sight. And then this here, and I don't even want to take it off. It's a 2-part, kind of like, it's a 2-part, it's a quad pod, not a tripod or a bipod. See, I didn't want to take it apart because it feels so fragile. It was a pain putting it together, but here it goes. And getting them complete, again, this one starts to get a little expensive complete, but I think I pieced them together part at a time, which wasn't cheap, but some people had parts for cheap. It worked out. I think he's cool looking, and he feels very regular Joe. I like how his mic is just painted on, and you don't have to chase that piece down. And then his lower legs, they're kind of camo. That's kind of cool too. So a pretty good looking figure, Rampart. And yeah, the 90s still feel very military-esque. Okay, that's until you get to Rapid Fire. Rapid Fire is just a repaint of Super Trooper. But instead of having the luscious vac metal, you have green. And let me tell you this, I think Rapid Fire is more expensive, or as expensive as Super Trooper. Super Trooper was a melloway. This guy was packed with like a cassette or something, like a VHS or something like that. I think that's what made him. I'll have to look that up and throw a picture or graphic up if I can. But this is, yeah, the Super Trooper's done way better. But it's still a cool figure. Even if you're like me and you prefer Super Trooper, he didn't come with a shield. Instead of a shield, you got a cassette or whatever. And this, it feels like Super Troopers, the chest pieces pop off. I know they were originally glued, but the glue didn't hold on. The glue on this is super hardcore. I mean, it's hardcore. So getting it off, changes. I had to change his rubber band, and I don't remember how I did it. It was not fun. It was not fun or easy. And I'm curious, the hair color changed on him too. He went from black hair to like, can we see that in there? Black hair to like brown hair. And this is where people start getting into neon. So yeah, the green looks kind of neon. And it is what it is. But you didn't have to buy this. No, you don't have to buy anything, actually. You didn't have to buy this figure. But I felt it was kind of fun to track this guy down and just to have him. Because I did like Super Trooper. I had Super Trooper as a kid. And yeah, Rapid Fire, he's okay. All right, now getting into Salvo. If I was a kid of the 90s, I bet this would have been my favorite figure. He comes with so much. He just seems tough. From the show, he seems tough as nails. He's bald. He comes with this cool helmet that goes over him, and it has this tiny little lower jaw piece that needs to go over, and the visor painted on. He has this gun, which is really awesome. It's not a gun. It is a mine launcher, and it shoots out, and you can put mines out. Now, I've seen these show up broken a lot, so be careful with them. And he only comes with 5, but I ended up picking up some extra ones in a lot. And I said, hey, I wouldn't mind if my Salvo had a 6th one on there. Well, I only had 3 at the time, so 3 more made it 6. That was nice. He comes with 5 of these missiles. I think in a bag, yeah, I got a couple spares, and I've already lost one. He took a shelf dive. His band is probably not tight enough to support. It's tight enough on his own, but to support all this weight. Now, he has this missile launcher. I'm not really going to take it off or do anything with it, but he has a handle right here and 5 missiles. And it doesn't really, like, I think the middle one will friction if you push it hard enough and shoot out. The rest of them are in there too light to do that with. But still, some of them are different colors because I didn't get it complete. I bought like one close to complete and then a little part slot. And it had parts in it. So as you can see, some of these missiles are different colors. They don't match. And I see this handle broken off all the time. He does come with a suitcase that doesn't open, and it is probably the least cool thing out of this. In fact, you know what? That suitcase would probably look really good with these Crimson Guards. Come on, stand up. And here's a 2005 Crimson Guards, and holding his briefcase, and it's cheap. You can get it for like $1. So maybe they'll be sporting these in the future. These are the suited ones. Yes, Super 7 is making their own version, but of course this is True Blue original Hasbro. Next up we have Stretcher. Let's get him all in this shot here. He is a pretty cool looking figure. Now when I saw this, I thought it was awesome, so I'm going to grab a comparison here in a minute, but this dude comes with this really cool kind of like a air speeder, almost like something from Star Wars, where he can go rescue somebody. And then there's another set of foot pegs. So there's a foot peg here, foot pegs back there. So I bet you I can move him forward if you wanted to and use that foot peg for either him to stand on and someone to stand on the back, or someone else could stand in front of him. Why do I always use this guy? And he could take scrap iron to safety? Oh, maybe he's going to lock him up, but he's a medic. So he's basically Doc. So he's Doc 2.0 and ramped up. Instead of having although he's called Stretcher, he doesn't have a stretcher. He has this floating gimmick. He comes with, this is a separate piece here. This is a 2-part piece here. This clips on. Those are stickers I think you have to apply yourself. He has a microphone that's attached to a hose. He has this I think somebody said that's a flare gun with multiple flares, and his backpack with an antenna. Now, the correct orientation is to flip the backpack around like this and have his antenna. I feel like I'm gonna break something. His antenna to go way up in the air, but I can't fit it on my shelf like this in the space I have to have this giant antenna going way up. Yeah. Anyhow, this figure's really cool. I was really impressed with it. Stretcher, hard to find 100% complete, and that's a cool looking guy right there. He's got his hat on. It's got a strap around there that holds his hat on, his helmet on. Kind of got some gray. I mean, that might be a gun in there. Some teal, just all kinds of different paint apps to it. Some orangish yellow on the leg, green accents on his boots. Cool, fun toy. Let's show the comparison to something else G.I. Joe made. This is Highway, and he comes on this little air speeder, air chariot thing, and this is Nightstick, which just didn't come with it, but I grabbed an extra one just so I could have him on it. I was going to have like 3 or 4 of them on these things because they're so cool. This was packed in the blister with this figure, and this is all packed in the blister with the figure also. This is Stretcher. So cool, and yet some nice reused ideas. Next up we have Topside. So kind of my thought process is when you're in the Navy and you're down below the deck. My brother served at least 4 years in the Navy. When you're down below deck, then sometimes you have to go topside. So is that kind of the whole point of this guy? And man, I didn't realize a lot of these the waists are they seemed good enough when I put them up there, but they're a little loose. He's got this gun right here, which is kind of cool. So it looks like a full-on automatic. He's got a helmet that comes with him, and he's got kind of yellow hair. He's supposed to be a blonde, but it's yellow. And then there's his helmet. And then he has, this is simplistic. He's just got this backpack, but it comes with 3 missiles, and it has a stand. It's got its own pod, so he can have this stand, and there he is standing next to his backpack missile launcher. And yeah, they launch out of, they don't really launch. You have to just take them out and do some pretend. So still at this phase, hey, let me tell you this. Later in the 90s, you no longer have to pretend. They actually launch, and they have lights. You wait till you see that. But cool looking figure. He has this vest. I mean, if you're ever, did you just jump ship? You ever watch 1985 and the Back to the Future? That's what I always feel that way when I look at this figure. He's kind of cool. And one of my friends, she had a Joe collection. She didn't know what it was, so she gave me a custom. She says, I don't know what it's supposed to be. And I said, I don't know either, but there it is. It's got shipwreck legs. It's got his arms and torso. And is that Tom Selleck's head? Does anybody know a good recipe for making a G.I. Joe Tom Selleck? Anyway, this is Topside. He's going topside in the Navy. Next up we have Sky Patrol. Now all of these have different color backpacks, parachutes. Now we had a parachute pack, which I haven't shown. I guess I didn't show the parachute pack yet, but we had a standard one earlier years. The difference between them is that this has kind of like a oddly shaped kind of shape right here, which is different, but everything else is pretty much the same. And with that, this was a cool line. It is very, very hard to collect. This is on the level of Night Force, if not harder, except for like these two are pretty easy. The rest, you're looking at 150 plus to get it a complete one, or piece them together like I did and get them a little bit cheaper. But I still think at the end of it, I was paying what a complete one might have cost after like a month and a half of working on this nonsense. But anyhow, let's look at each one of these real quick. This is Airborne, I believe, version 2. Wasn't Airborne the pilot of the Sky Striker? So here's his head. He comes with this cool little helmet. It's like a half helmet with some visor on it. And each one of these deploy. Each one of these can descend slowly if it's done properly. But I'm not going to worry about all that. He looks like he's got a microphone on his chest. And his backpack fell off. These, like every aspect, even the backpacks, just to try to get the right color backpack is a challenge. And then there's his gun. It looks like a nice little machine gun kind of thing going on there. Machine laser gun. He has a gray camo on his legs, gray on his chest, and he has his... Is that a pilot wings? Is that what it's supposed to be? Pilot wings right there. But there he is, and I never had this much trouble keeping it on while he's standing on the shelf. Because that's all they do for me, is stand on the shelf. Now, we're going to get into a series of these. This one here is Air Wave. I believe I got the right one. He has a brown backpack, which I'm going to bring this in. This one over here, Drop Zone, has a... I think they're exactly the same, but in my mind, I think Drop Zone's is a little lighter. But it could be fading and all this other kind of stuff. But let's slide this back. And here we go. The string's all sticking out the side there on that. He has this helmet. It's gray. Let's see if we can see his face. Some of these helmets are not easy to get on and off. Oh, come on. There's his face. Kind of a handsome mug there. And then they do kind of go up and down. Each one of these also, I thought I was going to be cheap and slick and find the cheapest one, but they're all different colors. I was going to like reuse the same one from a different one. He has this cool gun. This is a really cool gun. It's got like the ammo clips up and down. That is interesting. But he also has kind of like a gray, tan, not gray, tan, different shades of tan. Yeah, let's call it a deeper shade of tan. Now this one here blew my mind when I was trying to figure out what was going on with this gun. He has a green, but it's not the same as the standard jump pack green that came out years earlier. This one here is altitude, not to be confused with major altitude we'll see in a few years. Now, his gun is stupid crazy. It splits, okay, it's got a missile on it. I don't even know if I can get it off. So this piece here connects to the gun, and then it has a missile that connects to that, and that's his gun. It's like a missile launcher, but instead of the missile just connecting to the gun, which would have made more sense, it has a connector piece, which is weird. Really weird. And I bought in 3 separate purchases. Stupid. Really stupid. Anyway, there's his face. He's got kind of like a tough kind of mug going on right there. And then there's his helmet, which would go over with his faceplate. He has nice gold on it, some silver, green, and tan-ish colors. And let's put him back and get Drop Zone. Now, I had Drop Zone already and his helmet. I got it real cheap from a local purchase, but getting his accessories, oh man, that was a whole... I mean, I got all this. But getting the gun and the backpack took me forever. And his gun is weird. It has shoulder strap kind of clips, like it holds on maybe a shoulder brace. That's strange. And can I get his helmet off? Man, these are hard to come off. That's what his face looks like. Looks kind of cool. Cool looking dude over there. And he's got some chaps. He looks like he's wearing chaps. And he's got gray, tan. All these are different color. Everything's like a different color scheme with these guys than the other one. The other part is like I'm inserting these into the display, and I insert them like this, and I hold them by the helmet, and the helmet falls off. Not good. Next up, we have Skydive. He's a little bit easier to find. So all 4 of these are pretty equally hard to find and expensive. But you start getting the Skydive, it gets a little bit easier to find. There's his gun, like a machine gun, and then he has a handgun. Now this gun gets reused a lot in the sprues of the later 90s. So we'll see that coming up. He's got a blue. I think that he's the most unique looking out of these because of his blue. Well, maybe actually the next one's the most unique. He seems a little easier to pick up. His helmet is like that. It's just a helmet that goes on it. He's still not the easiest to get his backpack though. Blue. It's kind of cool. He's got some stripes down the side. Kind of has a bit of a countdown vibe to it. Let's get him out of the way. Let's bring in Static Line. Here's Static Line, and he is pretty cool. Now, you're going to notice that the last 2 figures don't have like a visor that is adjustable. He's got like a flat top on him. It looks pretty cool. I would think this would make a nice head donation for a Big Lob figure. That would be awesome. I would love a Big Lob. I really want an O-ring Big Lob. I know that thing's like $800 now. Now, I will use him because he's the last one, and I think he has a good parachute. His chute is... These are not like the standard ones. This is kind of a shiny reflective to it with a foil. That is pretty cool. And then get that back in there. Now, I'm not going to open one up because it's so hard to get them back in there. And every time you mess with them, you flake off that stuff. I've got a couple that are flaked off. He's got silver armor right here. He's got a knife there. He's got a nice little gun. A lot of these guns going forward, this is a style that's reused a lot. You're going to see here in a bit. I think I have an exact same one. Some white pants, some blue shoes, some black tips to the shoes. I don't know what this thing is. It's like a waist. I don't know. This gun is rounded, has two handles, and I hold it on like that. So strange. So strange. And he's the only one with a white parachute. This is the Sky Patrol. Now, Sky Patrol has vehicles. So, getting into the vehicles, they vac metalized and repainted the Sky Havoc, Sky Hawk, Sky Raven, and Sky Shark. The thing about these, some of these have the original parts, like black pieces that are put on them. Some of these so you could just get original ones for parts for cheaper to help complete this, as opposed to like Tiger Force has specifically colored Tiger Force parts. But the main body is vac metalized. So that's kind of a cool, interesting way to go about doing this. I, again, am not going in on more vehicles, although I think they're cool. Next up, we have the Cold Front figure, which is really a cool figure. I like this figure. He has too much going on with him all at once. It is super hard to get this guy complete. Super expensive to get this guy complete. But let's talk about what's going on here. He's all in white. He has some chaps on and some straps going on in gray. He has this gun, and I want to showcase this. I took all the time out of my day to make sure this happened, but this figure, is it Psych Out? Is it Psych Out version 2 or something like that? Well, we'll find out later when this one pops back up in the later in the 90s. Same gun, different color. Down the road. Same gun, different day. Sorry, if I'm in a really good mood right now, we just got really good news for the country in the U.S. So man, what a great day. Doesn't change the fact that this guy's expensive. Look at these goggles he's got on right there. Very nice. Expensive. Hard to get that little eyepiece to it. If you look online, like 99% of these are missing that. It's so hard to get that. Oh, 110% are missing this stupid little... I'm afraid to touch it. Stupid little microphone. I'm sorry. This is probably $100 microphone. if somebody puts it up for $100, somebody's going to pay it. I bet. It's so crazy. The Joe collecting can just get insane. Because like some people looking for stuff for like a year, 2 years, 5 years. And there's like, I'll just pay whatever to get it done. Well, now we get into, he's the driver of the Avalanche. So let's get into this thing, and I'm cheating because I'm missing parts. So we're looking at the side that looks complete. Wait, I'm missing the missile. It looks like this, but gray and slightly different design. Has this giant gun that goes up and down, and then independently, this can do whatever it does, and it can do this. Boom. Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna see that again, ever. Oh well, it wasn't the right one anyway. I don't know what it went to. So this goes up. It's on both sides and it shoots out missiles. Really cool. The thing, most people tell me that they see on this Avalanche, they see Sub-Zero. Over here is Sub-Zero is the one that's usually driving it. And then here it is. It's got these pieces up front, all the headlights. You got this driver's seat, which he's missing his mic. Aside from that, he's complete. In the driver here, but I have to have my complete one up there. They call this a radar. It's a little dusty. Then you get up here to this, which You pull this lever back. Can you see that lever? It shoots black things. Now we see these again with Destro, but they're red. So this comes with 6 of these. And then we get into what I think, it blew my mind when I first saw this. I was like, oh my gosh, move the radar up and check this out. It's a whole other little spaceship with this exact same kind of thing going on right here with the same little missiles in it. And the canopy, well, because I'm missing one of those. I got the missiles for it in here. But this is where Sub-Zero would ride. Really such a cool vehicle. And I got this from my buddy Philip. And people get sick of hearing that I got stuff from my buddy Philip. But I didn't even know this existed until he hooked me up with it. And I was like, man, this is cool. Love this Avalanche and a Cold Front. Cold Front coming in. All right, next up we have Updraft. He is the pilot of the Retaliator. And when we get into the Retaliator, I actually... A friend of mine just gave it to me and said, this is 90s. I don't want this. It's from the 90s. And you're going to see a lot of that. A lot of the collectors that are just targeting the 80s stuff look at 90s like it's worthless and don't want to touch it. And I'm like, my hands up. I'll take it. Thank you. For free? Okay. This pilot, though, not easy to get. Not cheap to get. And part of it is because he comes with a helmet. If a pilot doesn't have any accessories, they're usually pretty cheap. I mean, maybe $25 or something. But they get into the 50 range when they have a helmet. There's his head. And a gun, a blaster gun or something like that. Now, I think this might get reused down the road. But it looks similar to some stuff we see down the road. But I actually... the reason I speak of that is because I was trying to figure out how to get one of these without spending too much money and subbing out someone else's blaster. He's got like knuckles. He's got like brass knuckles or whatever you'd say that is on there. Maybe it's just holes in his gloves and he's wearing those kind of gloves. Knee pads, tan pants, some pretty interesting get up here. He's got elbow pads that extend past the elbow. So there's some cool stuff on this, but this vehicle is actually quite interesting. Now, it's not something I would have ever gone after myself, but it is super long. And that is exactly what she said. Longer than she expected. You open this up. There you would go inside that cockpit. I cleaned it, but it still looks like it needs a better cleaning than I did. It will clip this cockpit into place too. Can go into there. Here is the landing gear in the front. It has this adjustable... from what I see, he just handed me a complete one and just was like, I don't care about this nonsense from the 90s. You take it, Mike. I know what you're doing and have it. So, I mean, I really am ultra appreciative. So, thanks so much, Andrew. Flip this around. And that is a pretty effective way to make rotors work. Now, this does something else, too. The rotors can open and fold back. We're going to see this in another vehicle. I can't figure out how to make... One of these has to go all the way back or something, but I can't figure out how to make it go all the way back. We see this in another one, though. There's one more party trick. Now, there's this handle that you can hold on to it, just run around and do your stuff with. But if you move it down and you got to kind of clear the claw, I'm sure there's a better way to do it than I'm doing. Then it has a claw, and then a gripping claw, and you can grip a figure. You know who's going to grip, right? And you can take off, run around. There's scrap iron, and then land, whatever. So that's kind of cool. I need everybody to promise no retaliation tomorrow with the Retaliator. Next we have Major Storm, who is the driver of the General, and he's on kind of Defiant level. He's on kind of Flag level. Expensive, hard to get figure, but we're going to look at the General, and I did go to a toy shop. I've videotaped it. It also has this other vehicle, the Locust. So I'm not going to talk about the Locust because it's on there, but the Locust got repaint and stuff like that down the road, but it's a small helicopter that goes on the top of this thing. This thing is massive. It's a rolling fortress, and it's kind of like the big Rolling Thunder was big, but then this thing kind of regresses into a whole different direction of a giant $300 nowadays to get one of these complete. And I would love to have one, but I don't have the space, so I don't have a place to display it. Or I would have worked a deal out with this guy, but it is a little bit dusty and stuff. I mean, it's probably been there for a while, but it is huge. It's massive. A rolling entire base. It is the size of, if not bigger than, the original G.I. Joe headquarters. But getting into Major Storm. Now, this guy here is kind of cool. He is, there's his mug. Comes with this helmet. It's a kind of a gold helmet. He's got a built-in mic. Love that. I love that. Please don't make me chase out another microphone. He has a gold, so the gold helmet and a gold gun. And I don't think this gun was reused for anything. You know, I might be wrong. Green vest, tan pants and sleeves. A couple of different built-in accessories that don't come off. Kind of a strap there. But, man, this is an interesting figure. Major Storm. Major hard to get to complete your General. And with that, because of the fact that General is so big, probably made in smaller numbers. Major Storm made in small numbers. And in the 90s, we didn't see the melloways the same as we did in the 80s. Next up, we're going to look at Vapor, who is the pilot of the Hurricane, VTOL. Now, I do have a Hurricane. I'm going to be honest. It is completely incomplete, and it's in terrible, trashy shape. So a picture is going to do much better than my Hurricane would do. Philip was not kind to that thing at all. But I want to tell you this. It is cool. It's kind of the rear wings kind of move a vertical way. I actually think both wings, the front and the rear wings, both vertically move. And it goes up and down and that kind of stuff. And it has a couple of missiles to it. It's got some interesting different... It's got a weird kind of rear spoiler, giant spoiler that kind of clips onto it, which is, of course, mine's missing that. Mine's missing everything. And it's got a nice little kind of teal color to it. It looks like a jet that'd be super fast, kind of cool. But let's get into talking about this figure called Vapor. Vapor. I am the Vapor. I think I paid like $25 for this guy. I have seen this guy sell for $50. And I've also seen him mostly with broken crotches. It's crazy. But he has an etched in... This is interesting. I don't think any other figure I've ever seen has an etched in Cobra symbol on him. It is an actual etched in Cobra symbol. Not a sticker, not a decal, not a paint. That is really cool. But his head looks crazy. Almost looks like he's an android. I kind of got the feeling he's an android. Maybe the fact that this giant thing here is like a sensor and he can see some more stuff. Kind of a gray jumpsuit. Does look like a pilot though. Looks like something you would see as a super futuristic sci-fi pilot. Doesn't feel neon 90s though. I mean, we're still in the early phases of the neon 90s. Vapor. Next up, we got Overlord, and he is the driver of Overlord's Dictator. It's like an armored kind of a motorcycle kind of thing is what it looks like to me. And it has a gun on the front. It's got a few things on the back. I've had one of these before. I didn't really know much of what it was, but I never had the figure. So I had to go out of my way to get the Overlord himself. And let me tell you, this figure is awesome. Just awesome. I mean, I had to pay up for him. I can't remember how much now because I feel like I'm living in a delirious spending spree of buying some Joes to fill my collection out. But he has the helmet. There is like a face kind of mask kind of thing, like a ninja wrap there. He's got a monocle. Then he has this gold helmet. No gold plastic syndrome hitting these guys though. And it looks almost webbed on these two things here. So, I mean, stuff to get. Generally, I've seen them for like $25, but I think I got them for $25. But that was after like 6 or 7 attempts of losing to him on auctions and stuff. It was crazy trying to get this guy. But he's got gold. He's got some stuff on him. I have a little bit of discoloration and stuff to him, but I'm happy to have them, and it's cool. I really was going for 100% on the figures. I'm like 98% on figures. But there is Overlord. Very, very cool figure that I didn't know existed 3 months ago. This is Decimator, the driver of the Hammerhead. And when I see this, I feel like this is the evolution of the Bug. Now, the Bug was kind of a bubbly, round thing. This is more like a Hammerhead shark. And I kind of feel like if I were to have gotten one of these in hand, I would love it. I would have never gotten so deep into collecting the bug and all of the Secto Vipers if I didn't handle one in hand. So that's part of my problem. If I were to handle the Hammerhead in hand, I would definitely probably pick it up because it looks so cool. It looks like it's got an extra small little vehicle on the top, and it's got 2 more small vehicles on the side, or at least 1, if not 2. It's got place for 2 in the front, some missiles. It's 6 wheels and room on the side for another vehicle. Another figure. I think this was touted as either 6 or 8 vehicles in one. This thing looks awesome. I mean, it's taking the bug to the next level, and I love the bug. And so I don't want to get a bug for the Hammerhead, so we're just going to talk about the figure. Hard as heck to get the figure. Oh my gosh. This is Decimator. Now he has a helmet. I think I might have actually accidentally shown him in another year, but this is the year he belongs in, according to my Yojo. There's this weird looking helmet. His face, he looks like a ninja. They all do underneath their helmet. They all look like little ninjas under there. So that's cool. And he's got paint rub. He's not in the greatest shape. Guess what? I got him cheap. I collected on the cheapest of the cheap of the cheap that I could get. He has this triple, what do you call that? You call that a dart gun? A triple dart gun, which is cool. He has green pants with some gray accents, gray belts and thigh pieces there. Really cool looking dude, this yellowhead Decimator. And yeah, let me stop looking at Hammerhead because I know I'm going to end up having to get one. Next up is the Laser Viper, and since I collected in order from 1982 all the way through until 1994, and I wanted to check off my list as I went, I fought the urge of buying lots that had 2 and 3 of these that I could have gotten for a good price, and so I ended up just getting the one, sadly. And I worked it into a deal, got a good deal on them, $20. This is probably a $35 figure though, complete, but maybe I'm wrong, but everything was there. I was so happy to get one complete, just crossed off my list. But it's a cool figure. It feels a lot like, the Annihilator and some other things, and I would assume this is a jetpack and he can fly up. Or if he's not a jetpack, he's just walking around laser firing people and stand falling off of them. I always worry about breaking the heel on this. So it has 2 independently articulated lasers. It's like lasers. Sharks with lasers. Now, you do have hose. He's got hose right here. And then he's got one handle. So I got confused in the early days too. When I was looking at these, I thought it was supposed to come with 2 handles. Because so much stuff comes with 2 handles. This only comes with 1. So that held me up. That stopped me from buying 5 of these. But they all went for more than this guy did. So I got a good deal anyway. I'm pretty happy to have the one. I wouldn't mind having 3. But at this point, I'm trying to slow down the troop building. Slow down a lot of stuff. But hey, maybe I will get 2 more in the future to complete my trifecta of every troop builder laser trooper. Next up we have Metalhead, which is an awesome, amazing figure. Love this figure. Love him. I love what they did with him. Except the deke animation had to deke with the character and make him a campy kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a comedy relief figure. There he is with his head off. He's got black hair. He's got some cool looking visor and a goatee. We can all argue the goatee situation. What's really a goatee? He's got this rear missile launcher, which uses all the same missiles, 6 of them. It can collapse on his back, and then it can go up like that. Now, stuff does not... It's got pegs in there. Some of the stuff has pegs that's supposed to hold it in place. You can see a peg in there. These are supposed to hold, but it doesn't hold. I mean, all this stuff is used and worn out to a point. Now, his legs have pegs on them, too, which is so it can articulate up and down, which you can't do much once you connect the hoses to it. And then he has this gun right here. It's a pretty cool gun, and it's the only use I've ever seen of this gun. I might be wrong. There is the hose and how it connects, and I am so sick of these things falling out, but it is super cool. What the pegs in the legs are almost always broken. And I'm gonna go out there. Like 95% of these in existence have broken pegs, because you put it all on there and you toss this in your toy box or whatever, and the pegs just break off. And then 95% of, if you find one of these, there's a broken peg in them that you have to drill out. And if you don't use the right drill bit, then it doesn't fit right back on a proper figure's leg. So there's so many situations, so many issues with this figure. But Metalhead, I have to admit, is a really cool figure. I wish they would have done better for the character in the Deke animation. All right, so this is one of my favorites. So we're gonna have to do it in phases here. This one is Night Creeper. There's the carded version, my childhood one that we got. No price tag on it. Oh yeah, it's Eckerd's. I don't know if you remember Eckerd's. It's like a drugstore. Anyway, the reason it's sealed is because I actually found one at a garage sale or something along those lines. And here he is, looking all cool, and he's got these chest pieces, and he's got some camo, different color camo on the legs right there. Such an amazing figure, like a ninja, like a bad guy ninja, doing all kinds of cool stuff, all kinds of mean stuff. And I mean, the artwork is just awesome on this guy. And I didn't open him right away. I had to have him. The artwork just sold me on him. Doesn't match the artwork 100%. He has a backpack which holds one sword, but doesn't hold the other sword. The other sword is weird. And man, if you think you get stabbed by something that's like this, if they pull it out, I mean, it's over for you. And man, like a clean cut, you might be able to get through that jagged edge, just ripping everything out. Plus, he's got this wonderful, beautiful little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different arrows in this crossbow of his. It's awesome, cool stuff. But let me show you what you can do with this to make it even more awesome. So you can troop build these guys. I did not intend to troop build. How many is this? 6? I only wanted 3. Now I know I at least have 3 complete ones, but with it took buying a few and getting extra parts. And then somebody was selling me some extra crossbows for really cheap, and I'm like, well, I can have a nice little army, but I'll have 3 in my display and then 2 in the Terrordrome. This is an awesome figure, Night Creeper. They just made them in G.I. Joe Classified, and there was the 5-inch one that was $10 that went on sale for $5. I might have overdone it, but don't do it for every figure, but this figure is that awesome. Next up we have the Range Trooper, which is a bit of a mystery, which, by the way, for some reason I ended up using some weird stand on him. I only had him recently, and my friend actually dropped off this missile to me, and like we discussed this, and a bunch of 90s stuff too. He had some good input, but he looks cool. He looks like he's some sort of a crazy looking monster of a Viper, range Viper. He's got gold ammo belts that are in there. He's got a turquoise green, but a blue mixed in to him. It kind of fades. He's got a lower belt here, a utility belt like he's Batman or something. He's got this backpack, which I still haven't figured out what this section here is open to. Something probably can store in there. I was thinking his gun could probably clip in there. Maybe, I don't know what's going on with that. He's got 4 antenna. Oh, I got a broken piece of my antenna. This hose connects from here to his head, and then he's got this like mortar launcher, is that? But this is 2 separate pieces. It just clips in. It doesn't rotate or anything. It's not as impressive as you would think it is. You can hold it with 2 hands, but the most impressive, he has this missile launcher, which I'm not exactly sure how. I know it's supposed to go in like that, and then somehow, I don't even know how you're supposed to display this. Now I'm terrified of losing this piece. My friend gave it to me just a little while ago. So there it is, and boom, it launches. I guess I have to display him like this forever? No, I'm actually going to display it like this. Now, I was going to get like 3 of these to piece together. I had like a roadmap on eBay. I'm going to get these 3, and it'll get me 2 complete and all this. And then, sadly, I ended up missing out on all that. I only got the 1 and pieced it together with help of friends. That's like a $40 or $50 figure, 100% complete Range Viper. Alright, how can you go from a Range Viper that's so hard to get complete, and came out the same year. It's a troop builder, but then you get the Rock Viper and buy one get two free. I mean, it's so crazy how easy it is to get the Rock Viper. Now, I only have one with the hose on. Well, no, I have two. Well, that's a weird hose, but it does kind of take up space in the display. This does some really cool stuff. Now, these aren't both complete, so I will be honest with all of that. This figure has a laser blaster. He has like a giant rifle. He's got a backpack. His backpack has, and if you can unwind it, but it has a grapple, and it goes up to like, I think 18 inches. There's no reason to really unwind it all the way, but it doesn't roll up or anything. You have to just wind it around this thing. So it just takes time and effort to wind it around. This is not fun. Wind it around and around and around, and then you kind of clip it in place. And then it looks like it's got extra like darts and missiles and stuff like that. Which, in all actuality, I think all my other ones have better backpacks than the one I'm using as my main one. I've got to go through and clean this stuff up. But anyhow, Rock Viper's cool. He's kind of got a tan color costume to him and all that. Now, see, this is part of why I like doing this. A, sharing knowledge and showing this stuff off. But B, I've realized that I need my best of my best of my best on my display, and then, you know, the rest go, oddly enough, the rest go into the display in the Terradrome. This is the Rock Viper. Next up, we got the Saw Viper, another situation that I only have the one, and it came in complete, ready to go, good to go for a good price, and I was happy, and I didn't go further with that. I don't think he has a black hose on him, but he does have an ammo belt that connects to his backpack, which is kind of interesting how that goes. And it's just one solid chunk of backpack. And then he has okay, I'm just going to say it. The biggest gun in G.I. almost the biggest gun in G.I. Joe. Or it probably is the biggest gun in G.I. Joe. So is this the case? A couple of these figures, they said that they sent the 2-up or the 4-up out, and it didn't get downscaled, and they just left it. But if that was the case, then his hand wouldn't fit on the wouldn't fit on there. Anyway, he's got a giant scope on it and stuff. It's got a bipod, which again, another hard thing to lose. All in purple. Again, I'm a sucker for a purple figure, and I'm also a sucker for a figure that has his mask, helmet, his got a painted on microphone, all that kind of good stuff. But pretty cool Saw Viper. We're about to see this guy showing up for G.I. Joe Classified, and I think they did it right. I think they did a good job with it. But how do you have a Saw Viper without a saw? I mean, nobody's explained that to me, so maybe somebody else could. Saw Viper. Next up we have Torpedo, and I would say the hardest thing to get on him is his mask, his helmet piece. I have my childhood one, got it at a KB. God, I love KB. That's how it came packaged. And I didn't open them because I was just getting too old. I was aging out in the 1991. I was done. But still kind of a cool figure. Looks pretty cool. He has this mask which connects to a hose that goes into his chest. He only comes with one of these tridents, but I have an extra one, so I threw it on him. Why not? He comes with this boogie board surfboard with a missile, and I use a rubber band to hold it on. And I do that better than I do on my spare one. So, my spare one over here. And he's kind of got a little bit of discoloration to him. Also comes with this shark. That's on upside down. Comes with kind of a shark looking thing. A giant tuna fish is what it looks like. But there you go. And this is Undertow. And I guess that counts as my 3 troop builders. Alright, so what do we have left on vehicles? So we have the Cobra Piranha. Cobra Piranha is pretty cool. And I have that somewhere, or had it, got rid of it. I don't know. I know I had this, but anyway, it's kind of feels like the bad guy version of the Devilfish. And it was got missiles, yellow missiles all around it, on the sides. It's got a giant rear fin and some guns and stuff. Single, I think it only holds one figure. Still really cool vehicle. Not sure what happened to it. Next is the Hammer, which it's a bigger vehicle. You would think the Hammer would come with a figure. It doesn't. It comes with what looks like a giant antenna. It has a whole bunch of guns all the way around it and a giant gun in the front. You can hang a figure out the top, put figures down inside. I've seen this in person, but I haven't really handled it so much. It's got open side, so there's no doors on the side, so it's open to the side. Kind of strange. Then we have the Mobile Battle Bunker, which it feels like the Mobile Command Center kind of thing, except much smaller and green. And but it doesn't open up so much, I don't think. I did see one at a toy shop. I didn't want to handle it too much. Didn't you break it, you buy it, right, bro? But I think they wanted like 50 or 60 bucks for it, so it's not a bad price for it. It's kind of cool, double decker. Probably can accommodate 4 to 6 figures on it. Still seems kind of like a pretty cool, interesting vehicle. Destro's Dominator. Let's dominate this. Iron Grenadiers. This thing is cool. It's like a tank, and it's like it has some propellers. They kind of fold back like the Retaliator in a way, but it folds back all the way. Retaliator had one kind of left out there, but it's got a dual cockpit. It is interesting, cool. Fits in with the Iron Grenadiers. The Iron Grenadier stuff is pretty cool. So if you had it all together and all set up, it would look amazing. Figures look amazing. So cool vehicles for the year. That sort of wraps up the 1990s. Except I have one more vehicle, and yeah, it doesn't come with a driver, so I threw scrap iron in it. You know, it's what you do what you got with what you got laying around. It's easy to get to. This is the Cobra Rage. Cobra Rage is an interesting vehicle. I would have never picked it up, but now that I have it, I think, oh, that's kind of cool. Let's look at a couple things that it does. First of all, let's get in the front here. This folds down now. I think there's got to be some sort of button release, but I haven't quite figured that out yet. So I just manhandle it and force it down. Then you have this turning turbine, which is cool. Then you put this back up. Feels almost like a Mad Max vehicle in a way. Then you have this giant gun right here. Get it out of the way. You have 2 opening slots to put figures in for drivers if you want to. I don't know if that Cobra symbol is faded or it's just supposed to be a white Cobra symbol. So that's strange. You do have a regular Cobra symbol over here, which maybe that's where the white one should have gone. You can open it up, see the engines and stuff. Movable turret. In the back here, you have 2 more of these guns. This whole thing comes up, reveals the guns that are underneath this. That could go to the front. And then you have a whole new different setup of a vehicle. 2 missiles right here. This folds out a little bit on the dusty side because I don't do anything with it. It doesn't really go on my display. This giant missile looking thing comes out, but it doesn't really shoot. 4 wheels that they're not even. They're asymmetrical. Yeah, it's weird. Like a cylinder. Not a really good cylinder. Then you have this here, which folds out and has missiles in it, I think. I think it's supposed to have missiles. Maybe I don't have the missiles. Not really exactly sure what's going on with this. It's, as you pull it out, it's supposed to launch missiles, I think. Either I already did and lost them, or I never had them. But anyway, Cobra Rage, kind of cool. It was all the rage in the 90s. So I hope you enjoyed this look at 1990. We are entering into the 90s. And yeah, it's pretty much feels like a continuation of 89. Doesn't really feel a whole lot different. They crammed a bunch of extra accessories in the package, but they were starting to do that already. And with that, of course, when we get deeper in the 90s, there's more accessories. But let me know what you think about this. Was this a trip down memory lane, or was this more of an educational, exploratory experiment? Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. Teddy Hanger out.